finally, the last way Sigrid uses a concept within her sophomore album, How to Let Go, is through the concept of space and galaxies, where she uses that as a visual enhancement within the music video. And the song in particular in which this is effective is called It Gets Dark, which is the third single from How to Let Go. According to Sarah Canelli and from the line of Best Fit, it was released on the 9th of March 2022. And the song is about finding the light in the dark. So in this situation, it's like finding the high point in such a low moment of your life. And this is very clear in the chorus, where there's the main line, "It gets dark, so I can see the stars." And immediately there's this idea of galaxies and space through the use of stars there. And that was found out by Genius on the website. According to Izzy Rowley from When the Horn Blows online, she said it is to be another empowerment anthem about letting go, where it's set to really work into this empowerment energy further that Sigrid holds in her artistry. And she uses an example from the second verse, which is, "Gravity won't hold me down because I came out here to see the universe inside." There's also more themes to planets and space, with gravity being like, it's basically describing it as if it's a force that's holding her down. She will go with the flow. She will break free from the restraints that are holding her back. And also the use of the universe could be a way of describing her career, being this astronomic kind of scope of what she's always wanted in her life, especially in her music career. In the song as well, she introduces the audience because this is the first song on the album, which she introduces herself to the audience to start with, which almost adds this level of relatability that she has to her audience. It is clear from the first verse, which I have pulled up now. She says, "Hi, there's a reason for my high. There's a whole world outside. I saw it last night." So this almost tells you the instance of where the idea of the song came from, where it's almost as if like this universe that she's trying to image in her head is like an epiphany or a reverie of something that she wants to believe in and experience for herself. But then she kind of takes on the negative, which is the dark side of the lights situation she's in, which is, yeah, they're saying I'm insane because I want to go to space and leave it all behind. Essentially, given when this was written in COVID, according to an article that I read, essentially this can link to how she wants to explore more and almost get out of her bubble. But since she's in COVID, she's kind of forced into this bubble in which people almost within this convention enable her to stay there, which can also link to the idea of finding it a dark time, because people referred to self-isolation and quarantine as a very dark time, which Sigrid obviously found it the same way as a lot of other people. And yeah, this really sells the idea of the galactic themes, wanting to leave Earth or this grounded situation where you can't do much and soar to new heights, explore new things, find the light side in the dark, which the music video then branches on from when it was released. So the music video begins with Sigrid lying on this UFO spaceship on a random moon, unnamed moon, where it starts off with sparkly shimmers coming down and hitting the camera, which I thought referenced to the light or like a nebula in terms of like stars. And a nebula could be like these tiny little stardusts. So I think that could reference her finding the light inside of the dark times in her life, especially isolation, which I'll get into, because we see her in this small kind of cardboard room, this makeshift arts and crafts room, very tiny, almost kind of like set out like a spaceship. It's got a lot of futuristic themes to it. And I think that can link to the imprisonment of people through self-isolation, and that being referenced as a dark time. And this can give an insight to how Sigrid might have found difficulty coping in those times, especially being quite an active person. There's also a bit in the music video where she goes to the phone on the right hand side of the screen and she screams into the phone as the chorus begins, which I think is her trying to seek out contact from outside of the shell that she's been put into, which in my opinion could be her trying to break free from the restraints and the isolation that she's been put inside of. Yeah. Then it goes into more of the galactic themes in terms of handmade planets. There's a lot of dancers and crew members with planets on their heads that surround her, which could be posing as something to do with her music and her craft, as if they're like completely like the projects that she's made in the past are her worlds that she's delved into, and she's trying to harness them as much as she can. By the end of the music video, in terms of planets, she emerges out of one near the end where she breaks the planet in half and she comes out in this all blue ensemble, very marbly blue ensemble, which I think can signify this idea of the album being a rebirth or the start of a new life for her, or a new sound or a new genre, which really showcases Sigrid using the dark side of her experiences and finding the light in terms of experimentation in her artistry, and this idea of the universe and portraying it as such really signifies the idea that she's willing to explore more and is really opening herself up to more artistry. She ends the song and the music video with this idea of the house, the planets, the moon that she was on, all being part of a movie studio, because she actually holds the house in which she was stuck in at the very start of the music video in her hands, where you can see her face from the window and then you can see her holding it in her hands as the music video finishes, which could show how she's taken this isolated period and is almost like nurturing it in her life, but also could showcase how she's willing to leave all of this isolation, all of this guardedness behind in order to finally be free and be able to do everything she wants to do with liberty. And it really also showcases, since she's the only person on set and as the lights all turn off by the end of the music video, it showcases like this problem of loneliness that she might be having in terms of her relationships, in terms of her career, in terms of public affairs as well, if we're talking about COVID, where we finally see this idea of the uncertainty of being alone finally concluding and being over, where she is finally able to let go of the dark times in her life. So to conclude on that part of the analysis, I feel like Sigrid takes music video visuals very seriously to make a connection towards the song and what it's trying to detail and make as a synopsis for the listeners to gather and source themselves, where essentially the idea of using galactic space, planets, solar system imagery across this music video really sells this direct reference that she's trying to create a universe for herself where she can feel comfortable, like a ecosystem for herself to feel comfortable in her artistry, in her life, in her relationships, where this album feels like the universe that she's trying to build. And also with this galactic themes, she's inevitably trying to detail how this is the pinnacle of letting go, finally being ungrounded from the earth that she's been put into, especially with isolation, with the relationship she's had, and finally being able to reach new heights without feeling guilt or shame or any negative emotions. It's all positive. So that is my analysis of all three singles from How to Let Go and It Gets Dark.